Jax's revenge domain. The day they handed me that highlighted job description, I knew exactly what game they were playing. My name's Marcus Henderson Mac to everyone who's worked with me over the past 25 years, and I'm 54 years old. I've seen this corporate dance before, but never thought they'd try it on me. There I was, sitting in that glass conference room at Fortress Industrial Solutions, watching Brianna Cole slide a piece of paper across the table, like she was handing me my walking papers. She used to report to me 4 years ago, back when she was just another junior analyst trying to figure out which end was up. Now she's HR director after some corporate restructuring that nobody really explained. "Marcus, we need to discuss role clarity," she said, not looking me in the eye. "Your engagement has been expanding beyond scope." Next to her sat Oliver Kane, our CEO for the past 18 months. 39 years old, came from some tech company that got bought out. He'd been talking about digital transformation and streamlining legacy processes since day one. Legacy processes, that's what he called the systems I'd built that kept our biggest client from walking away. The paper had my job title highlighted in yellow, process optimization consultant below it. A neat list of responsibilities that looked nothing like what I actually did every day. Documentation review, process, mapping, efficiency recommendations. Not a word about the 3 a.m. phone calls when Titan Manufacturing's line went down. Nothing about the relationships that kept $48 million in annual business flowing through our doors. From now on, Oliver said, "We need you to stay within these parameters. It's better for everyone." I looked at that paper and knew something was up. 25 years at this place, starting as a floor technician and working my way up through every department. I'd seen 3 CEOs, 4 reorganizations, and more initiatives than I could count, but this was different. I'd been doing 2 jobs for 12 years. Officially, I was supposed to optimize processes and write reports. Unofficially, I was the only guy at Fortress who understood how Titan's production systems actually worked. Every time their equipment acted up, their operations director, Rick Stone, called me directly. Not customer service, not our account team, me. Because when you're running 24-hour manufacturing lines making parts for Ford and GM, you don't have time for corporate hierarchy. Rick and I went back to 2011 when I helped them through a catastrophic line failure that almost cost them their biggest automotive contract. Since then, whenever Titan had trouble, I got the call. I'd drive over to their facility, walk their floor, listen to their machines, and figure out what was wrong. Sometimes it took 10 minutes. Sometimes it took all night. But I always fixed it. "So you want me to stop taking Titan's calls?" I asked. Brianna's smile got tighter. "We want you to follow your job description." Oliver leaned forward. "Marcus, you've been incredibly valuable to this company, but we need clear boundaries. It protects everyone." I almost laughed. After all these years, they wanted to put me in a box. But here's the thing about boxes, they work both ways. They can trap you, or they can protect you. "Understood," I said. "I'll follow it exactly." Walking back to my desk, I thought about Linda, about the mortgage, about retirement still 8 years away. The company knew exactly what they had on me. They counted on it. That afternoon, Rick Stone sent his usual message. "Mac, we've got a calibration issue on line 3. Walk us through the adjustment sequence." For 12 years, I would have been on the phone in 30 seconds, talking Rick's team through the fix. This time, I opened that job description and read it like it was a legal document. Then I typed back, "Please contact our customer solutions team for technical support. My role is limited to process documentation and efficiency analysis." The silence in my inbox lasted about 20 minutes. Then my phone started ringing. First call was from Janet Mills, our VP of Sales. "Mac, what's this about you not helping Titan?" "I'm following the scope HR provided," I said. "Come on, Mac, we're all on the same team here. Put that in writing and update my job description, and I'll help." She hung up. Second call was from Oliver himself. He didn't sound so confident anymore. "We need flexibility, Marcus. Titan's our biggest account. I understand that. Update my role description to include live technical support, and I'll be flexible." He was quiet for a long moment. "We don't need to change anything. Just use common sense. Common sense tells me to follow the written scope you gave me." He hung up too. By end of day, I had 8 missed calls and 15 emails, all basically saying the same thing: fix this mess. But nobody wanted to admit they'd created the mess by trying to shrink my job down to paperwork and meetings. The real pressure started building the next morning. Suddenly, I wasn't getting invited to production meetings, I'd been running for 6 years. My access to Titan's system dashboards got temporarily suspended for security review. The 20-something engineers started treating me like I had a disease. But I stayed calm, checked the numbers, documented everything, followed procedure exactly as written. Then Titan's Line 3 went down hard. Not just a hiccup, a complete shutdown that backed up their entire production schedule. They had $2.8 million in automotive parts that needed to ship by Friday, and it was already Wednesday morning. Rick Stone called me directly. "Mac, I don't care about corporate politics. My line's been down for 6 hours and your people keep bouncing me between departments." I felt bad for Rick. We'd been working together since 2011, and he was straight with me. But I'd learned something important in my 25 years climbing from technician to director. When management plays games with your job, you play by their rules until they remember why they needed you in the first place. "Rick, I can't troubleshoot live systems anymore. That's not in my job description." "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I can write you a process document about calibration procedures, but I can't walk you through the actual fix." Long pause, then, "This is garbage, Mac. You know this system better than anyone. Take it up with Oliver Kane." That evening, I went home to Linda and told her what was happening. We were sitting at the kitchen table, going through bills like we do every Wednesday. Amy's student loan payment, $340, mortgage, $1,847. My 401 kilo contribution that I couldn't afford to reduce. "Think they'll fire you?" Linda asked. "Probably, but they'll have to pay out my severance, and I've got everything documented." Linda's been married to me for 28 years. She knows when I've made up my mind about something. "What's your plan?" "Follow the rules they gave me. Let them feel what happens when I actually stay in my lane." She was quiet for a minute, then reached over and squeezed my hand. "We'll be fine either way, Mac. We always figure it out." That's my Linda. 28 years, and she still believed in me even when I wasn't sure I believed in myself. By Thursday morning, Titan was in real trouble. Their Line 3 shutdown had cascaded into problems on Line 1, and now they were looking at missing delivery windows for Ford, GM, and Chrysler. Rick had escalated to his executive team, who were demanding answers from Oliver. I spent Thursday writing process documentation. Exactly what my job description said to do. I documented every step of the calibration sequence Titan needed, every troubleshooting protocol, every safety procedure. Beautiful, detailed documents that were absolutely useless to someone who'd never run the equipment before. Around noon, Oliver showed up at my desk. Gone was the confident tech executive from Monday's meeting. He looked like a man whose quarterly numbers were about to go up in smoke. "Marcus, we need you to get on a call with Titan. Help them through this." "I'd be happy to schedule a process review meeting," I said. "I can present my documentation findings and efficiency recommendations. Cut the crap, just fix their line." I looked at him and stayed calm. "Put it in writing. Update my job description to include live technical support." He stared at me like I'd asked him to admit he screwed up, which in corporate terms, I guess I had. "We don't need to change anything. Just be helpful. Then I'll keep following the scope you gave me." Friday morning, Titan's situation went from bad to worse. Line 1 had developed what they called a phantom fault, intermittent shutdowns every 90 minutes like clockwork. Their production was completely stopped, and they were facing penalty payments that could run into the millions. I was documenting the theoretical troubleshooting procedures for phantom faults when my desk phone rang. Direct line, not through the company switchboard. "Mac, this is Rick Stone. Forget Fortress for a minute. I'm calling you personally. I felt something shift. This wasn't about corporate politics anymore. This was about two guys who'd worked together for 12 years. What do you need, Rick?" "I need this fixed by Monday, or we're looking at contract cancellations that could shut down 2 of our plants. 300 jobs, Mac. 300 jobs. Families with mortgages and car payments, and kids in college, just like mine. People who did their work every day and didn't deserve to get caught up in corporate games. What kind of arrangement are you talking about?" "Direct contract between you and Titan, not through Fortress. Name your price." I thought about Linda, about that European trip, about Amy's loans and our mortgage. I thought about 8 more years until retirement, and whether I really wanted to spend them watching Oliver Kane run this place into the ground. "Emergency system stabilization," I said. $35,000 for 2 weeks, plus documentation of permanent fixes. Another $10,000. "Done. Can you start Monday?" "Send me the contract Sunday night." That weekend, Linda and I talked it through. Really talked the way we used to when the kids were small and every decision felt huge. She made coffee, I spread out our financial papers on the kitchen table, and we looked at the numbers. 45,000 would pay off Amy's loans, Linda said, and give us a cushion for the first time in years. What about Oliver? What about Fortress? I'd been thinking about that all weekend. 25 years at one company, watching it change from a place where experience mattered to a place where everything was about algorithms and efficiency metrics. I'm taking 2 weeks personal leave. After that, we'll see. Sunday night, Rick emailed me a clean consulting agreement. Nothing fancy, just clear scope, clear timeline, clear payment terms. Emergency system stabilization, $35,000. Documentation of permanent fixes, $10,000. 2 weeks total, with daily progress reports. I printed it out, read it twice, and signed it. Monday morning, I called Oliver and told him I was taking personal leave. Then I drove to Titan's facility and met Rick at the main entrance. How bad is it? I asked. Bad. We've got corporate breathing down our necks, and if we don't ship by Wednesday, Ford's talking about finding another supplier. I followed Rick onto the production floor, and it was like coming home. The smell of cutting oil, the sound of machinery, the organized chaos of parts moving through assembly stations. This was where I'd started 25 years ago, back when I thought the only way up was through management. Maybe I'd been wrong about that. It took me 4 hours to find the real problem. Not the calibration issue everyone was focused on, not even the phantom fault that had them stumped. A timing relay that had been slowly degrading for 3 months, throwing off the synchronization between line 1 and line 3. The kind of thing you only notice if you know the equipment's rhythm the way I did. How did you know where to look? Rick asked. Same way you know when your car's about to break down, you listen. By Wednesday, both lines were running smoothly again. By Friday, Titan was back on schedule, and Ford was happy. The phone call from Oliver came Thursday morning while I was finishing up my documentation at Titan. Marcus, we understand you're helping Titan as an outside consultant. That's right. That creates some complications. Fortress has an exclusive service agreement with Titan. I almost smiled. 25 years at this place, and now Oliver was trying to lawyer his way out of the hole he'd dug. Check the contract, Oliver. Fortress provides equipment and standard maintenance. Emergency consulting isn't covered. Rick Stone confirmed that with his legal team. Silence on the other end. Then, we need to discuss bringing you back. I'm not coming back, but I'm happy to discuss an ongoing consulting arrangement. Another pause. What would that look like? I'd been thinking about this all week, talking it through with Linda every night. What was my knowledge really worth? What would someone pay to keep $48 million in business from walking away? $150,000 annually for institutional knowledge retention, quarterly reviews, emergency response capability, documentation of critical procedures. That's significant. So is losing your biggest account. The negotiations took another week. Rick Stone made it simple for Oliver by laying out the facts. Either Fortress kept me available for technical issues, or Titan would start evaluating other suppliers for their next expansion. Max, the only reason we stayed with you guys through 3 ownership changes and 4 different sales teams. Rick told Oliver in a conference call I wasn't supposed to be on. You want to cut that relationship loose. That's your call. But we're not doing business with a company that doesn't value the people who actually solve problems. Final deal, $110,000 for completing the immediate stabilization work, plus $140,000 annual retainer for ongoing consultation. Total first-year value, $250,000, more than I'd made in any single year as a Fortress employee. The funny thing was watching Oliver try to spin it as a win for everyone. We're proud to support Marcus's transition into specialized consulting, he announced in the company newsletter. This innovative partnership model allows us to retain his valuable expertise while pursuing our digital transformation initiatives, like it was his idea all along. Brianna Cole, the HR director who'd handed me that job description, requested a meeting to discuss maintaining positive relationships going forward. I told her my calendar was pretty full these days. 3 weeks later, Linda and I were sitting in our financial advisor's office, looking at numbers that didn't seem real. With the consulting income and your 401k contributions, you could retire at 60 instead of 62, Karen Hoffman told us. Maybe even 58 if the Titan contract renews. Linda reached over and squeezed my hand. What do you think about that European trip now? I think we should book it for next spring. Karen shuffled through some more papers. The other thing to consider is Amy's graduate school. You could help with that now without touching your retirement savings. Amy was thinking about getting her MBA. something we'd told her she'd have to finance herself. Now, maybe that wouldn't be necessary. When we got home that evening, I called Amy at her apartment in Chicago. "Dad, is everything okay?" "Everything's fine, sweetheart. Actually, everything's better than fine. Your mom and I want to talk to you about graduate school. I already told you. I'll figure out the financing myself. You might not have to." Things have changed a little bit. I told her about the consulting arrangement, about the money, about how proud I was that she was thinking about going back to school. "Wait," she said. "You're making how much enough that you don't have to worry about tuition." She was quiet for a minute. Then, "Dad, are you sure? You and Mom have been so careful about money for as long as I can remember. We're sure. You work hard. You deserve the chance to go as far as your brain can take you." When I hung up, Linda was crying, happy tears. The kind she used to cry when Amy took her first steps or graduated high school. "She deserves this," Linda said. "We all deserve this." 6 months later, I was sitting in Rick Stone's office at Titan, going over the quarterly review. Production was up 12% from the previous year. Equipment downtime was at historic lows. The partnership with Fortress was stronger than it had been in years. "How's retirement planning coming?" Rick asked, better than expected. "Linda and I might take that trip to Europe next fall. You've earned it. 30 years in manufacturing, most of it cleaning up other people's messes." Rick was right about that, but the messes didn't feel like burden anymore. They felt like opportunity. "I've been thinking about expanding the consulting practice," I told him. "There are a lot of companies out there with the same problems Titan had. Experienced guys getting pushed aside for young engineers who know software but don't understand machines. You thinking about taking on partners?" "Maybe. There's a guy I worked with at Fortress, been there 23 years, knows automation systems better than anyone. Oliver's been talking about restructuring his department." Rick smiled. "Sounds like you might be able to help him land on his feet. That's the idea." The drive home that day took me past Fortress Industrial Solutions. I didn't stop, but I slowed down a little, looking at the building where I'd spent 25 years of my life. There were cars in the parking lot I didn't recognize, young engineers and business development people who'd never worked on a factory floor. That was fine. Companies change, technology changes, people move on, but experience doesn't become obsolete just because someone invents a new app or redesigns a workflow. The trick is knowing what your experience is worth and making sure you get paid for it. When I got home, Linda was in the kitchen making dinner, humming something while she stirred a pot of sauce. The mortgage payment notice was sitting on the counter, marked paid in her handwriting. "Good day?" she asked. "Good day." Rick and I talked about expanding the business. "You ready for that?" I thought about it. A year ago, the idea of starting my own company would have terrified me. Too much risk, too much uncertainty. But that was when I thought job security came from keeping your head down and hoping management appreciated you. Now I knew better. Real security comes from knowing what you're worth and being willing to prove it. "I think I'm ready." She smiled and handed me a beer. "Then I'm ready too." A year later, I was sitting across from Oliver Kane in a coffee shop downtown, listening to him explain why Fortress needed my help again. "We've got a situation with Patterson Industries," he said. "They're threatening to pull their contract unless we can guarantee the same level of technical support they got when you were here." I sipped my coffee and waited. Oliver looked older, more tired than when I'd left. Word around the industry was that Fortress had lost 2 more major accounts after botched implementations. "What kind of support are they looking for?" "The kind you used to provide. Someone who understands their systems, can troubleshoot in real time, knows their people." "Sounds like you need to hire someone with that experience." "We've tried, posted the position 3 times. The young engineers we interview know the theory but can't handle the pressure. The experienced guys want more money than we can pay." I almost laughed. "More money than you can pay." Oliver had the grace to look embarrassed. "I know how that sounds, given what you're making now." What I was making now was good money. Henderson Technical Consulting had signed 4 clients in the past year, all companies that needed someone who could speak both engineer and executive. My business partner Jim Walsh, the guy from Fortress I'd told Rick about, brought in 3 more accounts. We were booked solid through the next 18 months. "Oliver, I'm not interested in coming back, but I might be able to help you find someone. We'd appreciate that. Jim and I know a lot of guys in the same situation I was in, experienced, undervalued, looking for companies that respect what they bring to the table." Oliver leaned forward. What would that cost? For placement? Nothing. For consulting on how to structure the position so you don't lose the next guy. That's different conversation. I pulled out my phone and showed him Jim's LinkedIn profile. Jim Walsh, 26 years in automation systems, most of it at Fortress. You restructured his department 6 months ago. I remember Jim. He's got 3 clients now, making more money than he ever did working for you. But he might know someone who'd be interested in a staff position. If the terms were right, we talked for another hour. Oliver wanted to understand what had gone wrong. Why experienced employees were leaving for consulting work instead of staying loyal to companies that had invested in their careers. The investment wasn't mutual, I told him. You invested in my skills, but when it came time to value those skills properly, you tried to shrink my role instead of expanding it. We thought we were protecting you from burnout by taking away the work I was best at. Oliver was quiet for a minute. We made mistakes. Companies always make mistakes. The question is whether you learn from them. 3 weeks later, Jim called me with news about Fortress. They offered me senior technical director, he said. 120,000 base plus bonuses tied to client retention. You taking it? Thinking about it. Carol's been after me to get back to a regular schedule, and the benefits are good. Jim's wife, Carol, had been dealing with some health issues, and the insurance through our consulting practice wasn't great. What does your gut tell you? That Oliver's serious about changing things this time. He brought in a new HR director, someone who actually understands manufacturing. And they're restructuring the whole technical services department around relationship management instead of pure efficiency. Sounds like they learned something, maybe? Or maybe they're just desperate enough to try something different. A month later, Jim took the job. I missed having a partner, but it was the right move for him and Carol, and it gave me a chance to see if I could build something bigger than just a 2-man consulting shop. I started reaching out to other experienced guys who'd been pushed aside or forced into early retirement. Engineers, operators, maintenance supervisors, people who'd spent decades learning how things really worked, then watched companies replace them with cheaper alternatives. Some of them weren't interested. They'd been burned too badly, or they were happy with retirement, or they just didn't want to take the risk. But others were ready to try something new. By the end of that second year, Henderson Technical Consulting had 8 associates and 12 active clients. We weren't getting rich, but we were doing good work for people who appreciated what we brought to the table. The money was nice. Linda and I took that European trip, helped Amy with her MBA, even started talking about buying a little cabin up north for weekends. But the real satisfaction came from watching other guys like me discover that their experience had value beyond what any single company was willing to pay for it. Rick Stone invited me to speak at an industry conference about the future of technical consulting. The audience was mostly executives dealing with the same problems Oliver had faced: experienced workers leaving, knowledge gaps opening up, young engineers struggling to fill roles that required decades of hands-on experience. The question isn't how to keep experienced workers from leaving, I told them. The question is how to create relationships where they don't want to leave. And if they do leave, how to maintain access to their knowledge in ways that benefit everyone. After the presentation, a CEO from a company in Ohio approached me. We've got 15 guys over 50 in our engineering department, he said. Good people, but expensive. My board's pushing me to find savings. What would happen to your operations if those guys all left tomorrow? He thought about it. We'd be in serious trouble. Then maybe expensive isn't the right word. Maybe they're an investment you can't afford to lose. How would you structure something like that? I handed him my business card. Let's talk. On the drive home that night, I called Linda from the road. How did it go? She asked. Good. Really good. I think we might be onto something bigger than I thought. Meaning there are a lot of companies out there making the same mistakes Fortress made, and a lot of guys like me who are tired of being undervalued. You thinking about expanding again? I looked out at the highway stretching ahead, thinking about all the manufacturing plants and engineering firms and logistics companies dealing with the same generational transition issues. Experienced workers retiring or getting pushed out, companies struggling to maintain institutional knowledge, young engineers trying to learn in months what took the previous generation decades to master. I think there's room for something bigger than just consulting, maybe a network or a cooperative. Something that connects experienced workers with companies that actually value experience. Sounds like you're not ready to retire yet. I laughed. I'm 56 years old, Linda. I'm just getting started. When I got home that night, there was an envelope on the kitchen table. Inside was a check from Titan Manufacturing, my quarterly consulting fee, along with a note from Rick Stone. Mac line 3 just passed 500 days without a significant breakdown. Company record. Thanks for everything. I showed the note to Linda, and she smiled. Still feels good, doesn't it, fixing things? Yeah, I said it does. The next morning, I sat down at my computer and started writing. Not a business plan or a consulting proposal, but a letter to every experienced worker I knew who'd been forced into early retirement or pushed aside for younger, cheaper alternatives. Your knowledge has value, I wrote. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. It was time to start building something that proved it. Experience isn't overhead. It's insurance against disasters your spreadsheets can't predict. Charge market rate. That's when people stop calling your expertise a favor